Hey guys, Dr. Prometheus here, back with some more Warno. This one's a 3v3. We are playing with the 35th guards. 119th, the new one for the independent take is by Rosa. And then Pete is running with the 4th Motor Shooting Division. Opposing us is Berlin Command with Spy. Bao is playing with the 3rd Armor, and Bartok is playing with the 11th Division Parachutiste. So the whole idea with this, with our entire thing before we go into the actual game here, is I'm to try to deal with Bravo. We kind of figured Bartok would be the one taking Bravo because, well, forward deploy and Bartok hitting us on the side, that'd be one thing. It's big. I didn't really see a whole lot of what's going on the map because we also had, it was weird because we thought there would be a lane here, a lane here, and kind of a lane here. Ultimately what happened is Bao came up on the flank and was playing on the outside. Bartok was playing more of this, which allowed then Spy to kind of do a hold at Delta. And it gets a little precarious at Bravo. So idea holding from there, since we weren't going to beat Bartok into the space itself, thought about just holding a line here, holding Echo, and holding Charlie. And then essentially from there, we have 3 of the 5 points. And from there, we win the game. So we have 4 of the 6 points, I mean. So without further ado, let's get right into this one. Actually, let's show what we're coming out with. We pull out a motorized Revutka, some MI-24 in the middle, Spetsnaz GRU with a Skraz hit with an Igla. I'm using this UAS. It's only 250. We're kind of seeing how this unit exactly plays with the 39th and their lower transport supply. TLDR, I don't like smaller supply trucks. A lot of micro, but it's okay. BMD2s coming up with Desholniki. We have an Afghansky, a Desholniki Separi, another Desholniki in a BMD, a Spetsnaz with the Desholniki Metis, another Desholniki here, and a BMD2. Another BMD2 with Desholniki, some Spetsnaz, a couple groups of Spetsnaz, and then we have our command jeep, which is going to come over here, snag Echo, and then move over to Charlie. So without further ado, let's get right into this one, which was a pretty hot and contested game here, particularly in the Echo and Bravo, a little bit out in these woods. So what we're doing is a split assault. I kind of moved this accidentally. I kind of missed it. We also have a Strela. The idea is we're going to put a hold at this village here. We have a fallback position if we need to through this area here before they actually get into the point. So we're forward deploying up here to see if we can deal with anything that we later find out that Bao is pushing with his entire force, so we're kind of holding off 2 as best as possible. MI-24 recon coming up here. I'm not seeing anything right now, but they're not going to see anything come up through these roads. I probably could have been a bit more aggressive with it, but I don't know. So Gazelle cannon from Bartok with the 20 mil on it. The MI-24 is going to win that every day with 17, but it's also more armored. Then we see Spy coming up as well with it. So Spy is coming up here to land in this portion. And then we see a little bit of an issue of this. So it's really a 3-man push over here, which becomes, at least with the air power, becomes a little bit more difficult to deal with. Rosa was going to put her BTR 60 up here. We also get a T-64 in. I think I dropped a little bit too far back. I probably could have pushed this a little bit more with the infantry. but we kind of give up probably more territory than we should. I was kind of priority, like getting these guys out and holding this area as a priority. The Strela in the back. On the other side, we move our command vehicle over here, and we are ticking the +2 at this point. And this one's taken by bow, but this one has not been taken yet, and it's probably the biggest thing because, well, it allows us to get about a 200-point lead. And I'm starting to realize a lot more is these early pushes to get these are big. So I forget about this Spetsnaz for a while, but we move it up. It's okay. So this UAS is here only with 250 because that's the biggest thing. Mi-24 takes a shot, takes another shot, goes down, and that is the trend in this one of not being able to use helicopters because there's a lot of anti-air around and you can't see it. But also that kind of works against Bartok and everyone else. Strela and Igla doing work. The BMD 80s of Rosa doing some work in the middle. And we start seeing Bow. So I see Bow on the side and I'm saying, well, I don't see Bow over here. I see Bartok. And in this case, Bow has to be concentrating over here, getting ready for a push. So I'm saying to myself, I don't think I can hold that left side the best. And so we're going to get probably some T-55s coming through. I mean, Pete has already kind of held this island mountain. And his entire deal was to lock down this area, lock down this, and pretty much hold. Because it gets a little crazy into this area. So there's the BTR-60. We start seeing the 90s here, and our BMDs are starting to hit, and we hit that tank on the side. We had a pretty good side thing here, but what I should have done also at the same time is have a bit of an infantry push here going at the same time. So his BMDs are good to be here. We should have pushed the Spetsnaz additionally up in here and reinforced it with as much in this area as possible. For our SU-25 AT, we can't get this Sagade here. We take it down, and I think it ultimately gets taken down because we're revolving around it. Well, Bartok is pretty good with air, and that takes down the SU-25. The MiG-29 does take down, actually almost takes down one, but it goes down before it can actually kill it, and that's not a good trade. I'll start pushing a little bit of his M113s here, and we are holding with these BMDs, but the BMDs are getting hit by the Bradleys. So the Chadley's doing work here. This MiG-29 we put too far. Actually, we took out that helo because we just didn't want that recon. And that MiG-29 is going to exfil. Actually, it's going to fly around a little bit before it's shot down because I was going to exfil it. We're fine. This Mi-8 getting some rockets here on the Bradleys. We would just want to back it up before it starts taking a hit, and ultimately we're not going to hold that left flank. And Rosa asked me, hey, do we need to reinforce that left side? And I say, hey, I need some tanks. I can't hold this and I can't hold this at the same time against two pushes. I'm just not that proficient. I'm not that proficient yet. Like Rosa is certainly holding good bit forward. And I think Pete as well was pushing a little bit at Spy. So Spy's getting the treatment I'm having, and I'm holding somehow in some way. So I established my line here at this point. We're going to force Bao to come at this open field again, or we're going to force him to come up over the mountain. The Spetsnaz, don't worry, it's going to eventually come here. Rosa brings up a T-80 UD, and that is going to severely help us. as this Jaguar comes in, drops HE on the Thessaloniki. A little bit of damage, not much. Legionaries Paris coming up against the Spetsnaz, and the Spetsnaz will wreck the Legionary. I got Afghanistan moving up with our Sappery. A little bit light here, but I knew that Rosa having everything here, I was fine just recounting and see what's up here, and this Sappery's Paris flame ones destroy us. Spetsnaz out here doing some work, taking the Blackhawk for a ride. While the Thessaloniki Metis gets back, we're kind of establishing a new line. T-64. Our Conquerors are going to come up as well. We're just going to flood this and see what we can do. I'm actually going to put that down a little bit with the audio, with the voice bit, a little bit of the ambience and sound effects. There we go. We should be good. So we won't be so much yelling. I'm not gonna edit that out. We'll be fine. So what we're seeing here is a lot of artillery coming out, and we had a funny game later against 2v2 where we use a lot of artillery, and it really is great. So the Mi-24 AA portion doing this. I don't recognize that this T-64 is going up here because that's when I ordered it, so I have to move it over all the way back here because I wasn't paying attention. That happens sometimes. Another T-64 coming up. We're gonna bring up our Mi-26 for the supply. We're gonna bring out a couple more Thessaloniki, one of them being Thessaloniki Sappery, and we're gonna bring that and flood this area. I felt good with this, but as we see, this is the issue we're having. Is Bao can come up in the mountain with infantry and hit us from the flank and essentially cut us in half. Luckily, that doesn't actually happen because we're able to spot those units as they're coming out at us. And I think that would have absolutely collapsed us through here, and they could have taken command over this. But we're flooding more. Another Thessaloniki with a BMD in this area, and I just feel like we don't have enough to push. But the biggest thing is Rosa just wanted me to hold. So that's what we're doing as best as we can. This Rosa is just absolutely gonna be difficult to take out of the city itself. I mean, our T-80s have good inflate fire on any of these things here. This T-80 can see all the way up there where the Wombat is. BMP-1 can see it as well, so this is a good spot for everything. And Pete is just able to hold all of this. Over on our side, we're starting to see Bao bring us some Humvees that are unloaded, just trying to waste my ammo, which is the smart thing to do. I'm a pirate out here. We're gonna move up some Sappery out here because I'm worried about my flank. This is now down, so we're going to reload our rocket. We have our Conquerors back here that we're going to ultimately put up here because our Strela should be back here. Afghanistan is going to see the Super Puma, which is dropping some men. Jaguar HE coming in. We're going to bring in the MiG-29. I probably should have had more of an air presence in this one, but we were getting hit with so much infantry, we had to reinforce the infantry as that one's taken down. One shot with the MiG-29 and another shot by the Igla. Now Bartok's going to come in with an RDI, Mirage RDI. It's going to take some shots. It's not going to go down. But it's just out there to try to see if we can get some AA. As Pete gets his MiG-29s up as well. Pete gets a seat aircraft, and I'm not sure if this actually came down. Let's see if it actually takes the PVIDs. It does. He gets one PVID. Looking for another. The other ones aren't up. That one goes active. This Pete, I think he vaxxed him. Pretty good. So we're taking down this Puma pirate, but at this point we start seeing our aero mobiles, Bartok, and we start getting pressed by Saboteur Paris and his ERC 90, and it becomes an absolute cluster of a time over here. So at this point, I'm thinking, after I got that, I recognized that the Spetsnaz back here need to be moved up. We're gonna move up, and we're gonna try to just flood this area, and we're gonna fight over these woods. Everything else is going fine. We have a ticking 1. We're almost up to 900 at this point. Start seeing some AA hit our Mi-24. We're kind of holding a stable front. Rosa is the outside right there. We're going to have T-64. We're going to get a couple more up. We're going to get this T-64 after it's repaired up in these woods. We're also going to get a Conquerors up here as well in the building. And then I'm thinking about, hey, we need to resupply some of these vehicles over here. So we're going to move this eventually over there. And we're going to bring up eventually another supply helicopter to sit here. To sit here. I felt that we had this secured, but really the US having the supplies going back and forth is it's a hustle. We get our K-50 Akula. Our MI with rockets. As we start to see some artillery. I think these were, looks like mortars, to be honest. Coming out here, we have the Bradley moving up. Tony's gonna have some Rosa's gonna have some Iglas out here. We're gonna bring up the Conquerors there. Our T-64 is gonna come out. That Conquerors is gonna take a shot at the Bradley. It's gonna back up, but the Bradley is gonna die first. So it's a good one. So this I wonder if that's one thing I always probably struggle on, is we need to put our recon units like that on return fire only. So in case they get shot at, they'll return fire instead of actually opening fire. That's one of the biggest things, is our T-64 is just hitting the scout. And the scout isn't able to do anything. BTR is still up in the middle. We are holding this slowly. As we're starting to see Bartok put some pressure on Rosa's left flank. And she's just continually adding and adding. Pete over here, pulling the line. He's just flinging it as well. So we start having Rosas with the artillery, which is a nice bit. We're gonna bring up a T-64, some more Spetsnaz, Delshniki, and another Delshniki here that are in Hilo, so we'll get that Hilo aircraft to do work, and another Delshniki Sappery. We have the D-44 85 mil that also has an ATGM. I wanted to test these out. We put one right here, and it actually proves to be decent in this role. We saw one of the tanks of Bartok coming down. Actually, that's Spy in his M1 IPs, the Abrams, taking shots south. I thought, hey, maybe this Sappery can do it. I did not recognize that these guys have sapple charges. And right here, the command vehicle goes down. We're not taking up anymore, but at this point we think, hey, I can't hold this. I need to hold this area so it becomes somewhat of an easier time with things. But we almost get to 1,000, actually, the initial push, so that's good. Rosa's flooding some out here to hold us as well. We're slowly trying to fight Bartok here, and it is not going to go crazy. He's going to death stack these infantry. Not really death stack, but get as much infantry into this woods as possible. And he is going to keep on moving. GRU Spetsnaz taken down. The Semi-24 can't get close enough. I mean, we're not able to do anything, and we're just flooding units into this. The T-64 as well. I mean, we're just giving Bartok the ability to take down whatever. We're gonna bring in some more Destroniki Sapri and UASs. And we're gonna see what we can do with those. So at this point, I actually had a, I did cut out. So essentially we're communicating with text at this point, with text alerts in here with Rosa, me and Pete. So at this point we're holding. Bao is just trying to get us out. I think this might be actually spies, but here comes a smoke. So they're gonna smoke and do a push. The biggest thing is this motorized Rozvedka can actually see outside the smoke. So we actually saw their push before it even happens, which actually did help. And here's these guys here. I'm gonna see them in the woods with their cannons. And what they can see is all of the smoke coming down. But they're ready. Here's two Apaches on the left side. Igla takes a shot. Another shot from Estrella. And here is the push from Bao coming from the outside. Scouts, some arrow rifles, mechanized rifles. And this Destroniki Metis gets eliminated before I can actually see it. Igla takes another shot at Apache. So both of these Apaches are forced to not be able to actually help in there. Good push by Bao to use the tree line here. Chaparral is going to come up and see if he can't deal with the Semi-24 or anything that comes up. We have an MI8 on standby, and there's an air unit right here. Not fun. So we're trying to hold back this while Rosa helps establish a perimeter back through here. And it was just one it was hard to do. We have these Novas, but they are only 20 mil howitzers in this one, and they only can hit about 880 or 8,800 meters. So we're gonna have to move them up into this area to be able to support anything in here as Bao continues to go. And now here is the D-44. It can see the infantry, and it is going to pounce at infantry on the side of the mountain. Like, I don't know how it can see all of that, but it can. So we're gonna bring in a seed because we're looking for that chaparral. I realized the chaparral is actually radar. It is not radar. As you can look back here, the chaparral is infrared. So I need to learn on what is radar guided and what isn't. As our T-64 here is starting to take some shots over at him. Both of our T-64s. And we push that back. Rosa does have a Ural back here. Starts healing her units as we bring over this supply over here. We're holding slowly but surely. This middle at this point, I tell Rosa it's lost. We have to pull back off this. And so I'm going to start establishing a ring through this area. SG-25 coming in AT. We see a couple of tanks over here. We take some shots, but there's so many. At this point, this gave me an indication that there's so many troops already in this forest that the flank is going to be an issue. And also our reinforcement route. If we can't secure this reinforcement route, we're going to have issues. So still holding here. EMP sees the rifles. Good shot there from the T-64. And more T-64 and T-80 fire defeats those. So we're gonna bring up a bunch of Delshniki, some are Delshniki Sapri, some are Pelmashiki, and we're moving up with these to establish a position here. We need to hold our flank so they can't get into this position. But right now we're completely exposed and, well, we're hiding. We're in hiding at this point. Elsewhere on the map, Pete is slowly pushing up to stress Spy on the right side, and he's doing a pretty good job of it. Rosa's not going to stress that because Spy and Bartok are going to be pushing into this area, and she needs to be able to hold this. So start stressing the outside here. Rose is moving her T-80 back, so it's out of range of the recoilless rifle, and it can heal. So this is where it got a little bit hectic here. Bao collapses our right over here. We have to bring up this MI8 and get this Delshniki and reestablish and push down and retake this. So we get an MI8, just a rocket over here. It does have, well, straight rockets, just as it says. And the rocket one's going to hit the mechanized infantry if we can see it. This Delshniki Sapri is going to go right in that space, and we're going to try to hold it. I do say that, hey, there's something popping out of the woods here, and it's going to hit us, so we're going to move this MI8 over here to see what is in this area. We're going to also bring up an MI-24. Let's see what it is. I think it ends up being a command infantry unit. But it's going to get hit. Not killed. Couple Mirages, RDIs come in. Bartok loses one, but the other one is able to move across. The Seed aircraft does hit the PVIDs. Cluster's going to come in and hit. Let's see it come down. I guess I missed where the cluster came down. So we stop Bartok hitting too fast as we move back. Bao brings in an A-10 because he wants to deal with our T-64s over here, and also Rose's T-80. Artillery coming in. Hitting the Strela does kill it. T-80UD hitting the scouts. So it's sufficiently up enough. We're going to bring in our two MiG-29s. Taking a shot, we do lose that T-64. We're gonna fly those MiG-29s in complete danger. They actually do get away though, so not complete danger. They are damaged. That's a good bit of use. The T-80 that Rosa did have did get destroyed by the A-10, so that's unlucky there. Unlucky on our part, we probably needed to have more anti-air, to be honest, in that area. So Rosa's establishing a perimeter. Our Mi-24 here is watching this road. Another A-10 comes in. That T-64 is dealt with. We bring in our Su-25 AT. It does get one shot on the Thunderbolt. Does get another one. Does fire a couple of rounds, and it's the Su-25 that kills it. MiG-29 is going to get hit 2 or 3 times, and it's down. So here's the Su-25. We're gonna bend it back. We see those tanks. Stinger's right here. Gonna take a shot at the Mi-24. This Su-25, we tell it to get the Stinger, but it's not gonna comply with that. And now we see the Berlin light rifles here. So that's what was in this woods before. It's starting to harass Rosa, and so what we do is we're gonna start hitting these tanks. So we get one, we get another. We take out 2 out of 4 there. Bao starts pushing as well with his Abrams. We only have a T-64 here and this D-44. D-44 takes a shot on him. This AA is going to take down Rosa's recon. Rosa's going to bring in a T-80UD now. This D-44 cannot see it. We saw this Bradley come off the left side. And we also see this Bartok in this area. So we start having these Novas start hitting this area where Bartok's infantry is to damage and stall them. The issue is from there, the sapper and whatnot can deal with it. Trying to use those against T-55s is not going to work. At least the Sagades might. Because we have our Su-25 still revolving around, still ready to kill, still looking for units. We started hitting inside here as well with our Novas. There's infantry all over the inside of this area, and it is just completely infested with infantry. So I mark it as well that there needs to be artillery there. I was pushing pretty good. This T-64 takes a shot at the Abrams. It's going to take a rocket. It's going to miss. It's from the Dragons. The shot on the Apache from the Igla. We are holding somehow, some way. Another shot. We're going to put this T-64. We're going to get it in cover. At least try to get it in cover. And now we're going to smoke it and just move it back. A little bit of indecisiveness, but we're going to take our Su-25 AT. We're going to hit one tank. And we're going to stall that tank. Even though our Su-25 is going to get shot down. Following it up with the Mi-8 on the Abrams and the Akula AT. Stalls the push from Bao. I don't know how we did it. But we somehow did it. Somehow. So a couple Abrams back here still standing put. We're going to bring up another T-64. On this side, Spy is slowly kind of holding in a way, but he's having some issues up against Pete. So they were preparing to lose that left side. If we lost the left side, Pete could have just taken and neutralized this. So if we had double neutral, we'd still be at least even. We're getting our Akula back because we're kind of worried that they're going to come in and make a push. We started hitting. Actually, it's Pete and Rosa. No, those are both Rosas. Start hitting the Chaparrals here to try to lessen the air impact. We're moving back to kind of hold this for us because we knew there was units back here. Rosa's holding this edge of the forest. And from here, Tony's asking for smoke and to attack in there. But Pete actually is having a supply logistics issue more than anything on the right side. Now we start aiming at the chaparrals because we see that Tony was. And Rose is going to start smoking over there. And we are going to shift our fire over back to the chaparrals. So we're hitting them. Slowly, still off target. There's one shot. Some good ones. Not necessarily completely on target. The chaparral is just completely under assault here. We're going to launch a couple more. Later on, just not yet. We see this infantry. We say, hey, we need to get some artillery on that. I do mark it for Rosa. Now we see the Smirch up for Pete. The Smirch is going to start hitting this city. Still somehow holding this portion. I don't know how. And we start taking shots on the Nona from here, and we're going to move them up a little bit. And our supply. So smarter one than the last round. We're actually moving around our artillery, so we're getting slowly but surely. Rosa mentions to turn off the weapons of the Jaeger here, so he doesn't reveal his location. So a good bit of advice that I should probably follow more. So we're still holding. Rosa gives us another T-80U over here, so we have three T-64s, two T-80UDs, one being a U actually, and Rosa's putting a defense in depth. We're kind of mixing in, and we're fighting on this side. So we're starting to tick up by 2 because we just neutralized this spot of spy on the right side. Which one is this? I think it's Delta technically. Yep, it's Delta. Just worth 2 points. So Pete's doing a good job over here. Rose is starting to hold off Bartok. We're just going to start flooding with units into this area. Start seeing a couple of things in here. The multi-purpose rocket launcher here. Pete's using the 4th. So I mentioned this to Rosa, hey, well, at least the attack beacon of, there's all of these units stacked up here. I'm gonna strike them. Ultimately, we start striking what's coming at us, because this is about setting up for another attack. 4 minutes remaining here. The command unit on the right side is taken down. So that goes back to Blue Force side. We see a little movement from Bow, moving up. Shot by Bartok. Those things are pretty long range. Only 4 minutes left, and here's their push. It's going to be a big push. We've prepared for it. Just not completely. But I think we're ready. So front stable. Bartok starts trying to push Rosa here. We're going to bring up the MI-8. come up and start hitting Bartok here. Mistrals are right there. They're going to take out this MI8 at this rate. We move around. Bartok's, Bartok's infantry there destroying us. The M113s are up here. The T-64 start pounding this assault by bow. We bring up the Akula. The Akula's firing. The T-64 is hit by the Abrams and destroyed. One Abrams is down. They bring in an F-15 Eagle. We actually run it off with the MiG-29. He's gonna bring in F-111E. We split off the MiG-29 on that. We are gonna get it to bug off from there. And this becomes just a straight ground match with helicopter support. MI8 still holding this. The Akula with its 30 mil, just putting some hate down in this infantry. This Mi-24 starts putting the hate down on the infantry. We saw maybe there was something over here, so we're gonna move it. We don't like how forward it is because I know there was some anti-air. Spy brings in a Harrier. It's going to be hit once or twice before it moves out. The Akula is going to move back and to resupply. Our Nova is getting hit here, but we're doing some good work. Mi-22 is coming in with the HE. And that is going to be a good bit of damage against that assault. This one is counteracted by the Mi-8 and a bunch of infantry from Rosa and a couple from Pete. So good hold there. Last minute or so of the game, we pretty much had this under control, but the push was pretty good. Now I felt Bravo might have been something I could have done something with, maybe, but that's highly debatable. I need to learn how to fight and force better in mass than anything, as we're starting to see this come across, but I don't think it's gonna matter. This grand scheme of things, what's really gonna happen is this T-64 is gonna have a blast. Chaparral's coming up front. It's taken down. T-64 is gonna start shooting its Cobra missiles. T-64 gets hit by the Bradley. That one misses. We smoke off the T-64. We're getting these repaired. Even though we lose, we're actually out of supply here. Conqueror's still there, and it's going to go down. And that is going to be the end of your game. What time limit? We do get a victory there. Pretty good one with this. I'm drastically unhelpful at times, but I'm learning the game still. So Black Forest, it was a 40-minute time limit. We played this, and I thought we did pretty well as a team. Rosa kind of saved me quite a bit there. So looking through the kills, and BMD 2s actually did some good stuff against the ERC 90s. So I did not think that was a thing. MiG-29 seeing the Harriers and the A-10, which probably helped us a little bit. Spetsnaz probably should have killed more. T-64 taking out Scots and arrow rifles. The BV taking out 90 and an M1 IP Abrams. This Akula did absolute work. 2 Abrams, 1 Pamela, another Abrams, and 3 Bradleys, including 2 Chadleys. The recon version are insane. The Mi-24 VP took out, there's an Abrams, M113, and a fire team, so pretty good there. And losses, I didn't think we lost a whole bunch of stuff until I looked at this, and this Abrams from Spy just hurt my soul. it was just hurt my soul. But it's a good win there. I know at some point that I've only kind of shown wins in a way, but those are the ones that they're not so terrible that I'm losing the entire front and lose it like completely and we get stopped. So it's not the worst, but I'm still learning. Still learning everything. So thanks for hanging out. Go and leave a like below, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Later.